When I turned 62, I threw a party for my family, hoping for a warm embrace for my loved ones. No one showed up, leaving me in an empty room with cake and loneliness. That same day, my son-in-law posted photos of everyone who was in Hawaii, with a caption about the perfect family vacation. I just smiled, but inside I was seething with rage. When they came back, I handed him the folder, and he turned pale as he looked through it. He deceived me and my daughter, so he will pay for it. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you're listening in the comments. The ricotta lasagna had gone cold for the second time. I stood in my living room at 9:15, staring at the dining table set for 6 people who would never come. Blue and silver streamers hung from the ceiling like deflated dreams, and the birthday cake sat untouched on the kitchen counter. It's happy 62nd birthday, Dennis. Message now mocking me in chocolate frosting. I'd started cooking at noon, Lacey's favorite lasagna, the recipe Margaret perfected during our early married years. Layer by layer, I'd built it with the same precision I once used designing aircraft engines. But now it looked different. Predatory. Calculated. On the third ring, I answered, "Dennis, listen, I need you to understand something." Derek's voice carried the easy confidence of a man lounging in paradise. Behind him, I could hear waves lapping against sand, tropical birds calling to each other, and the distant sound of Lacey's laughter mixing with clinking glasses. I'm listening. I kept my voice neutral, controlled, let him make the first move. "Your birthday party obsession is getting pathetic, old man. Lacey doesn't need your guilt trips anymore. We're building our own family traditions now, understand?" The cruelty in his tone was casual, like he was discussing the weather. "She's got a real life. Not some sad dinner parties where you play house with your dead wife's china. Margaret's china." He'd noticed the place settings in the photos I'd sent to Lacey, the ones where I'd proudly shown off my preparation. He was using my love against me like a weapon. Is that right? I walked to the mantelpiece, stopping in front of Margaret's photograph. Her eyes seemed to watch me, waiting to see how I'd handle this. "Nobody cares about your birthday, Dennis. Find some friends your own age. Join a book club or something. Stop making Lacey feel guilty for having a life." In the background, I heard Lacey's voice, faint but unmistakable. "Is that Dad?" Derek's response was dismissive, muffled as he covered the phone. Just handle it. Like I was a problem to be managed, a nuisance to be dismissed. The man had turned my daughter into his personal secretary, trained to deliver. Scripted lies while he sipped drinks that cost more than my monthly heating bill. "Derek," I said, my voice growing steadier with each word, "you know what? You're absolutely right." Silence. He'd been expecting anger, the desperate pleading of a lonely old man. Instead, he got agreement, and it clearly confused him. What? I said, "You're right. Lacey has her own life now, her own priorities, and when you get back from Hawaii, I have a surprise for her. For both of you, actually."
"What kind of surprise?"
His voice had lost its cocky edge, replaced by something sharper. Nervous. I could picture him sitting up straighter in his poolside chair, his Mai Tais suddenly forgotten. The background sounds of his perfect vacation seemed to fade as he focused entirely on my words. "The kind that brings families closer together, Derek. The kind that helps everyone understand exactly where they stand with each other." I paused, letting the silence stretch between us like a wire under tension. "You should enjoy the rest of your vacation. Really soak up every moment. Take lots of pictures. Make lots of memories." "Dennis, what the hell are you talking about? You'll find out when you get home." "Give my love to Lacey." I hung up before he could respond, setting the phone down with the same gentle precision I'd used to set Margaret's china earlier that 4 minutes and 23 seconds. That's how long it took Derek to reveal his true nature, to show me exactly
What kind of man had stolen my daughter's heart?
But something had shifted during our conversation, something fundamental and irreversible. I wasn't the pathetic old man crying over his empty birthday party anymore. I was Dennis Michael Gray, retired aerospace engineer, veteran of 40 years, solving complex problems under pressure. And Derek Stone had just presented me with the most interesting challenge of my retirement. I opened my laptop again, this time, typing Private Investigators, Portland, Oregon, into Google. If Derek wanted to play games with family loyalty, I'd make sure we were both playing by the same rules. The hunt was about to begin. I closed the laptop and sat back in Margaret's chair, my finger lingering on the power button like it held some kind of answer. The screen went dark, but the names and phone numbers of Portland's private investigators glowed in my memory. 5 agencies, researched, cross-referenced, compared. My engineering mind had already narrowed it down to 2 finalists. But first, I needed to walk through my own house and remember what I was fighting for. The refrigerator still held Lacey's childhood artwork, faded construction paper turkeys and crayon flowers, held up by magnets shaped like miniature tools. Margaret had insisted we keep them even after Lacey graduated college. Some days she'll bring her children here. She'd said they should see their mother's masterpieces. Her high school graduation photos sat on the kitchen windowsill. Both of us, grinning like schools. She'd insisted on that picture, wrapping her arms around my neck and a hug that lasted through 5 camera clicks. "You and me, Dad," she'd whispered in my ear. "We make a pretty good team." When had that changed? I traced the timeline backward, like solving the structural problem. 6 months ago, Derek had started suggesting that Sunday brunches were couple time. 4 months ago, our father-daughter movie nights became immature, according to Derek's assessment. 3 months ago, Lacey stopped calling for advice because Derek handles our decisions now. The engagement had happened after 3 months of dating. 3 months. I'd known some of my engineering projects longer than Lacey had known her husband. The wedding planning excluded me from every major decision. Derek thinks smaller is more intimate. Lacey had explained when I offered to help pay for a bigger venue. Derek says traditional father rules are outdated. When I asked about walking her down the aisle, Derek says Derek thinks, Derek handles. In the living room, I found the Father's Day card Lacey had given me 2 months after their wedding. I'd read it once and tucked it away, too hurt to analyze it properly. Now I pulled it out with the same care I'd once used handling sensitive blueprints. "Dear Dennis," it began. Not Dad or Daddy like 27 previous Father's Day cards. "I want to express my appreciation for your parental guidance during my formative years. As I established my own nuclear family unit with Derek, I recognized the importance of maintaining appropriate boundaries while honoring our family connection. Nuclear family unit, appropriate boundaries. Lacey, who used to write, 'I love you more than ice cream and ponies combined,' was suddenly composing corporate memos disguised as greeting cards. I sat in Margaret's chair and made a list, dating each change with the precision I'd once used for project timelines. The pattern emerged like a blueprint taking shape. Every alienation, every distancing, every cruel transformation corresponded with Derek's increasing influence over her life. Margaret's voice echoed in my memory. "Family doesn't abandon family, Dennis. Something's wrong if they do." She was right. My daughter hadn't become cruel overnight. She'd been coached, manipulated, systematically isolated from the father who'd raised her alone for 5 years after cancer took her mother. Derek hadn't just stolen my daughter's heart. He'd stolen her mind, her voice, her very identity. This wasn't about a missed birthday party anymore. This was about saving Lacey from a predator who'd identified her vulnerability and exploited it with surgical precision. I'd spent 30 years as a structural engineer identifying weak points in complex systems. But investigating people required different tools than analyzing blueprints and reinforcing them before they collapsed. Derek Stone had introduced a fatal flaw into my family structure, but he'd underestimated one crucial element. I still remembered how to solve problems that others couldn't see. My phone felt solid and purposeful in my hand as I scrolled to the contact. Information for Cascaded Investigations. The receptionist at Cascaded Investigations had a voice like warm honey over steel. "Mr. Gray, Mr. Korn can see you Friday at 2 o'clock. He'll meet you at Powell's, the coffee section on the second floor. Look for a gentleman in a brown leather jacket carrying a copy of In Cold Blood." I spent 2 days preparing like I was heading into the most important meeting of my career. Derek's basic information went into a folder with the same organizational precision I'd once used for technical specifications. Derek Michael Stone, age 35, Pacific Northwest Realty Group. Licensed plate ADJ 492, apartment address on Northwest 23rd Avenue that cost more than my monthly pension. Powell's books felt like neutral territory, crowded enough for privacy but public enough for safety. I found James Karen exactly where Sarah had promised, a man who looked like he'd stepped out of a detective novel. Mid-40s, steel gray hair, eyes that missed nothing. The brown other jacket had seen better days, but his handshake was firm as a closing deal. "Mr. Gray, coffee." He gestured toward the caf. "Counter. On me, this conversation might take a while." We settled into a corner table surrounded by towering bookshelves. Karen opened a leather portfolio and pulled out a legal pad, his pen poised like a scalpel. "Tell me what's going on." I laid out the facts without emotion, the way I'd once presented engineering reports to skeptical clients. Birthday party, the Hawaiian deception, Lacey's personality transformation over 6 months of marriage, Derek's manipulative comments and controlling behavior. Karen took notes in shorthand, occasionally nodding. When I finished, he set down his pen and studied me with the intensity of a man used to separate in truth from wishful thinking. "What specifically do you suspect, Mr. Gray?" "Financial manipulation, possibly infidelity, definitely psychological abuse." The words tasted bitter, but necessary. "My daughter has become a stranger to herself." "Are you prepared for what we might find?" "Sometimes the truth is worse than our worst fears." I thought about Margaret's china sitting untouched in my dining room, about Lacey's childhood drawings still clinging to my refrigerator. My daughter is in danger from a man she trusts completely. Whatever you find can't be worse than losing her forever.
What's your end goal here? Revenge, legal action, or just information?
I want my daughter back. If that requires exposing Derek Stone's true nature, then that's what we'll do. Karan flipped to a fresh page in his notepad. "Here's what I can offer. Social media monitoring, financial background checks, public records research, if necessary, surveillance during public activities. I document facts, not opinions. I won't manufacture evidence or break laws." He quoted his rates with the directness of a man comfortable with his worth. $75 per hour for research, $125 for active surveillance, $200 retainer to begin. "I'll pay $2,000 up front," I said, pulling out an envelope of cash. Margaret's cruise money, saved for a trip we'd never take together. "How long will you need?" 10 to 14 days for a comprehensive background check. If your son-in-law is hiding something significant, I'll find it. Karen's pen scratched across a pre-printed contract. "I'll need his full name, workplace, license plate, any social media handles you are aware of." I handed him Derek's information typed on a single sheet of paper. Karen reviewed it with approval. "Thorough. You'd make a good investigator yourself. I'm an engineer. We solve problems by understanding all the variables. Then you understand that family problems are often the most complex systems to repair." Karen slid the signed contract across the table. Fresh ricotta, homemade sauce, pasta sheets rolled thin as paper. The kind of care that takes time. the kind I thought my daughter still appreciated. The wine glasses had developed condensation rings on my grandmother's mahogany table. 6 place settings, complete with a good china Margaret saved for special occasions.
I'd even folded the napkins into those fancy triangles Lacey admired at restaurants. The birthday candles had melted into colorful puddles, wax dripping onto the vanilla buttercream like tears. Through the thin walls, I could hear the Martinez family next door celebrating something. Children's laughter, clinking glasses, the warm home of conversation that fills. A house when people actually show up, Mrs. Martinez had waved from her garden this morning, asking if I needed help. With my party preparations. Family's coming, I told her proudly. My daughter and her new husband. My phone sat silent on the coffee time. No missed calls, no apologetic text messages, no last-minute explanations. I'd checked it every 15 minutes since 5 o'clock when Derek's family was supposed to arrive after their afternoon drive from Seattle. Derek had promised they would all come for our first family gathering, as in laws. The whole new extended family I'd been eager to meet, to welcome properly. I'll be in touch within 48 hours with preliminary findings. We shook hands again, and I watched him disappear into the bookstore crowd, already focused on his next move. Outside, the afternoon sun felt different, charged with purpose rather than serving weighted by loneliness. I sat in my Honda Civic and pulled out my phone, checking Derek's most recent Instagram post. Still in Hawaii, still posting about blessed family time, while my investigation began 3,000 miles away. The return flight was scheduled for Saturday afternoon. In my calendar app, I created a new event. Truth arrives home. The Delta Airlines app showed Flight 1247 on schedule. Saturday arrival at Portland International, 3:47 p.m. I set down my phone and looked at the navy blue suit hanging in my bedroom. Closet, pressed, and ready like armor for an approaching battle. 6 days to prepare. 6 days to transform myself from the pathetic old man Derek had mocked into someone worthy of my daughter's respect. First up, Charlie's Barbershop on Southeast Division, where I'd been getting my hair cut for 15 years. Charlie took one look at me and shook his head. "Dennis, you look like you've been living in a cave." When's the last time you had a proper trim?
4 months ago. Maybe 5. I settled into the familiar leather chair. "I need to look like someone who has his life together, Charlie." Say no more. Charlie's scissors worked with surgical precision. Job interview, new lady friend, family reunion.
Close enough to the truth.
The man in the mirror looked 10 years younger when Charlie finished. Sharp lines, confident angles. The kind of haircut that suggested competence rather than depression. I tipped him $20 instead of my usual 10. At the dry cleaner, Mrs. Kim examined my navy suit with professional disapproval. "Too long since you wear this, needs pressing minor alterations. You lose weight. Can you have it ready by Friday? For you, Mr. Gray, of course, your wife. She always bring your clothes here. Good woman. She would want you looking sharp." Margaret would have approved of my preparation strategy. She'd always said navy blue made my eyes look strong. That confidence started with how you present in yourself to the world. I bought a new tie at Nordstrom, silk with thin silver stripes that got the light just right. Back home, I installed a doorbell camera system I had been putting off since Margaret's death. The instructions took 2 hours to follow properly, but my engineering background made the wiring straightforward. Now I could see who approached my house before they knocked. Control the interaction from the beginning. Derek's real estate company website revealed more than he probably intended. The Pacific Northwest Realty Group looked professional enough, but the online reviews told a different story. Over-promises and under-delivers, pushy sales tactics, questionable ethics. I screenshot each complaint, building a file of Derek's professional reputation. Every morning I walked 3 miles through Laurelhurst Park, building stamina and burning off nervous energy. My body felt stronger than it had in months, driven by purpose rather than weighed down by grief. I ate proper meals instead of frozen dinners, slept 8 hours instead of lying awake, missing Margaret. The psychology books I checked out from Multnomah County Library made for disturbing reading. Recognizing emotional manipulation, the psychology of financial abuse, love bombing, and isolation tactics. Derek's behavior matched the textbook patterns with frightening accuracy. I practiced conversations in my bedroom mirror, rehearsing calm, measured responses to Derek's inevitable attacks. Not angry confrontation, but surgical precision. A surgeon doesn't shout at cancer cells. He removes them with steady hands and sharp instruments. My bank account could handle additional detective expenses if necessary. My calendar was clear. My house was organized like a command center. Everything clean, purposeful, ready for whatever James Karen might discover. Thursday morning, I checked the Hawaiian Airlines website one final time. Derek and Lacey's return flight remained unscheduled. No delays, no changes. In 62 hours, they would be back in Portland, and the next phase of my plan would begin. I stood in front of my bedroom mirror, practicing one final time. Hello, Derek. Welcome home. We need to talk. My reflection looked back with steady eyes and a confident jawline. Margaret would have been proud. My phone buzzed with a text notification. Packaged delivery scheduled for 2015. PM today. Cascading investigations. The evidence was arriving ahead of schedule. At exactly 2015 p.m., a car door slammed in my driveway. Through the new doorbell camera, I watched James Caron walk up my front steps, carrying a manila envelope thick enough to choke a horse. His expression carried the weight of difficult news. I opened the door before he could knock. Mr. Caron, Mr. Gray. He declined my invitation for coffee with the shake of his head. This isn't a social call. We need to talk. The envelope hit my dining table with the sound of Judgment Day. Karan had organized everything with colored tabs and section dividers, the kind of systematic approach that made my engineer's heart appreciate his thoroughness. Before we begin, Karan said, settling into the chair across from me, I want you to know that your instincts about Derek Stone were correct. But the reality is worse than you suspected. Section A contained Derek's financial records legally obtained through public databases and credit monitoring services. $47,000 in credit card debt across 6 different accounts. $23,000 owed to something called Pacific Coast Gaming, which Caron explained was a casino operation with ties to debt collection agencies. 3 loan applications declined by major banks in the past 4 months. Your son-in-law is drowning. Caron explained, flipping through bank statements and credit reports. His real estate income is down 60% from last year. He's been juggling minimum payments like a man trying to keep 12 plates spinning in the air. Section B revealed Derek's professional problems. Real estate license suspended twice for ethical violations. Currently on probation with the State Regulatory Board, former clients had filed. Complaints about misrepresented properties and hidden commission structures. He's 1 violation away from losing his license permanently. Caron noted that's probably why he rushed into marriage. He needed financial stability fast. Section C made my hands clench into fists. Derek's dating history recovered through social media archaeology showed a pattern of targeting financially stable women. A previous engagement broken when his fiancée discovered his gambling problem. Text message records from his phone carrier showing communications with multiple women during his relationship with Lacey. But Section D contained the smoking gun that made everything else look like misdemeanors. I flew to Hawaii Tuesday night. Karen said, pulling out surveillance photographs. These were taken in public spaces, all legally obtained. The photos showed Derek alone at the Maui Grand Casino at 2:47 a.m., unable to resist his gambling addiction, even while his family slept upstairs. Derek meeting with a woman named Tiffany Chen at the hotel bar. Photographic evidence of Derek entering and leaving the hotel elevator at suspicious hours, showing Derek accessing room 847 registered to Tiffany Chen on 3 separate nights. 47 phone calls to Northwest Recovery Solutions during the vacation, Karan continued. That's a debt collection agency. Your son-in-law was fielding harassment calls from creditors while posting about his perfect family vacation. The final section contained transcripts of Derek's conversations with his own family, recorded through social media messages and email chains that Karan had accessed, through Derek's professional accounts. His parents don't know about his financial problems. His sister thinks Lacey is wealthy because Derek told her you're loaded. He's been lying to everyone, not just your daughter. I reviewed each document with a once used for structural calculations. The scope of Derek's deception was breathtaking. Gambling addiction, serial financial manipulation, active infidelity, pathological lying to multiple families. This is enough evidence to open her eyes. Karan said, accepting his final payment plus a bonus for the Hawaii work. But be prepared, Mr. Gray. Victims of manipulation often manipulators initially. She might not believe you right away. After Karen left, I sat alone with the evidence folder, my phone displaying the countdown I'd set up. Derek and Lacey returned in 47 hours. I opened the folder again and began organizing the documents for maximum impact. Financial records first, to establish Derek's desperation. Professional problems second, to show his pattern of deception. Personal betrayals last, to demonstrate that his cruelty wasn't limited to me. Margaret's photo, watched from the mantelpiece as I worked, her eyes seeming to approve of my methodical approach to protecting our daughter. 47 hours until truth came home. Saturday morning at 6 o'clock, I sat in Margaret's old study, arranging documents like I was preparing the most important engineering presentation of my career. The evidence folder lay open across the mahogany desk, each piece of Derek's deception organized with surgical precision. Financial records first, the $47,000 in credit card debt, the decline loan applications, the gambling debts that painted a picture of desperation, then the professional violations, showing Derek's pattern of ethical lapses and lies to clients. The infidelity evidence would come last. After Lacey had absorbed the financial betrayal, maximum psychological impact, minimum chance for Derek to deflect or minimize, I created tabs with the same methodical care I'd once used for technical specifications, section dividers. A timeline showing Derek's systematic manipulation of Lacey's trust. Summary sheets highlighting the most damaging facts. If I only got one chance to suit hung pressed and ready in the bedroom, the same one Margaret had bought me for Lacey's college graduation. You look like a proud father, she'd said that day, straightening my tie with hands that already showed the first tremors of her illness. Today, I'd wear it like armor into battle for our daughter's future. I'd practice my key phrases in the bathroom mirror, controlling my tone to stay factual rather than accusatory. Derek, I have something for you. A little surprise I mentioned. Not angry, not vindictive, just a man presenting evidence with the calm authority of someone who done his homework. My phone showed flight Delta 1247 tracking information. On-time arrival at 3:47 p.m. I'd calculated the drive to PDX, parking time, terminal navigation. Arrived 30 minutes early, positioned myself in baggage claim area B, where international flights discharge passengers. Public location, witnesses, security cameras. No chance for Derek to create a scene without consequences. I called Lacey at 9 o'clock, a while in time, maintaining perfect normalcy while arranging the pickup. Dad, her voice carried the hollow brightness of someone trying too hard to sound happy. You don't have to come get us. Derek's parents have a rental car. Nonsense. I want to hear all about your vacation. Besides, it's the least I can do after missing your birthday celebration. A pause. In the background, I heard Derek's voice. Tell him we'll call him tomorrow.
Actually, Dad, that would be wonderful. We land at 3:47. I'll be there, sweetheart.
After hanging up, I walked through my backyard to Margaret's memorial garden. Her ashes were scattered under the rose bush. She'd planted our first spring in this house. The grandfather clock in the hallway chimed 9:30. Margaret's clock, the one her father built by hand in 1963. She used to say it kept perfect time because it was made with love. Now it just counted the minutes of my humiliation. I walked to the mantelpiece, past the framed photographs that told the story of my life. Margaret in her wedding dress, radiant and impossibly young. Lacey at 7, missing her front teeth, holding up a crayon drawing of our family. Christmas mornings when she'd wake us at dawn, bouncing on our bed until we agreed to open presents. Her college graduation, me bursting with pride as she walked across that stage in her cap and gown. When did it change? When did my weekly phone calls become burdens? When did Sunday breakfast become an obligation she could skip? The transformation had been gradual, like ice forming on a pond. One day the water runs free, the next morning it's frozen solid. I blew out the birthday candles methodically, one by one. 62 small flames extinguished, with 62 quiet puffs. No wish to make, no family to cheer, just me and the silence and the slowly cooling lasagna that nobody would ever taste. The leftover cake would feed me for a week. The wine would return to my basement unopened and waiting for an occasion that might never come. I knelt beside the roses and spoke to her the way I had every morning since her death. Today's the day, Maggie. I'm either going to save our daughter or lose her forever. The morning air carried the scent of her favorite David Austin roses. I need your strength today, your wisdom. Help me find the right words. Back inside, I made coffee using Lacey's childhood mug, the one with cartoon pandas that she'd insisted on using until age 14. A symbolic gesture, maybe, but it felt like inviting my real daughter back to breakfast. My phone buzzed with the airline notification I'd been waiting for. Flight Delta 1247 landed. I picked up the evidence folder, checked my appearance one final time in the back out, and saw the hallway mirror and walked to my car. Margaret's photo sat in my wallet right next to my driver's license. Whatever happened in the next few hours, I wouldn't face it alone. The Honda started on the first turn, reliable as always. As I backed out of my driveway, I thought about the man I'd been 2 weeks ago, the pathetic birthday victim crying over cold lasagna. That man was gone. In his place sat someone harder, smarter, more determined than Derek Stone had. Never trying a Dover after that out of them. The Sean Day of Avils ever bothered to understand. The evidence folder rode shotgun, like a passenger carrying justice in Manila. Paper and colored taps. PDX terminal buzzed with Saturday afternoon energy. Families reuniting. Business travelers checking phones. The constant backdrop of rolling luggage and arrival announcements. I positioned myself near baggage claim, Carousel B, with clear sightlines to the international arrivals exit. The evidence folder tucked under my left arm like a briefcase full of revelations. They emerged at exactly 4:15, all 5 of them looking relaxed and tan. Derek's parents wore matching Hawaiian shirts that screamed tourist, while his sister carried a woven bag probably purchased at an overpriced resort gift shop. Lacey looked beautiful, but tired, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. Derek walked slightly ahead of everyone, already reaching for his phone with the compulsive urgency of a man who couldn't disconnect from his problems, even in paradise. I timed my approach perfectly, intercepting them as they claimed their luggage from Carousel 3. "Welcome home, everyone." Lacey's face lit up with genuine happiness. "Dad, you didn't have to wait so long." Her hug felt real, desperate, almost, like she'd missed having someone who left her unconditionally. Derek's greeting was performance art. "Dennis, great to see you, buddy. Thanks so much for picking us up. Really above and beyond." His handshake lasted exactly 2 seconds, his eyes already scanning the terminal exit. "We should probably get going. Long day, you know." "Actually," I said, settling my hand gently on Lacey's shoulder, "why don't we sit for a few minutes?" "I'd love to hear about your trip. There's a nice calf right over there." Derek's parents exchanged glances. His mother, Ellen, looked like she wanted to, but Derek was already hurting. Oversteeving everyone toward the exit. "We're pretty beat, Dennis. Maybe we could catch up tomorrow."
I insist. My voice carried the quiet authority I'd learned from 40 years of project management. 5 minutes. I brought something for Derek anyway. The CAF offered round tables with clear views in all directions. Perfect positioning.
I chose seats that put Derek with his back to the main terminal, Lacey beside me where she could see everything, his family completing the circle like witnesses at a deposition. Derek immediately launched into vacation highlights, showing photos on his phone with the practice enthusiasm of someone selling a fantasy. The helicopter tour was incredible. Cost a fortune, but totally worth it. And the resort spa, Lacey got the full treatment into honey. I watched Lacey nod mechanically while Derek's mother mentioned almost casually, Derek spent so much time on business calls. Even during family dinners, he must have very demanding clients. Late-night work calls, too. Derek's sister added, "We hardly saw him after 10 p.m., always handling some urgent situation." Derek's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. Real estate never sleeps, especially when you're building something substantial. Speaking of building something, I said, placing the vanilla folder on the table, between us like a peace of offering. Derek, I have that surprise I mentioned, the one that brings families closer together. I slid it across the smooth CAF table. Don't worry about keeping it private. Lacey should probably see this too. Derek stared at the folder like it might explode. His laugh came out forced, artificial. Dennis, what's all this? You know I'm not big on paperwork. Oh, I think you'll find this very interesting. I kept my voice conversational. Grandfather Lee, go ahead, open it. His hands trembled slightly as he lifted the cover. I watched his face change color as he recognized the first document, a credit report with his name and $47,000 in red ink. The CAF. No one seemed to fade as Derek flipped through the financial records, each page making him visibly paler. His parents leaned closer, trying to understand what had stolen their son's confidence so completely. Ellen Stone was the first to speak. Derek, honey, what are all these numbers? That's when I delivered my prepared line with the calm precision of a surgeon, making the first incision. I thought Derek might want to explain those Hawaii casino receipts to his wife, and perhaps introduce Lacey to Tiffany Chen. The silence that followed was profound. Derek's hand froze halfway through turning a page. His sister stopped mid-sip of her coffee. His parents looked between their son and the documents like they were watching a car accident in slow motion. Derek looked up from the folder, his face completely drained of color, his eyes wide with the real time. Derek? Lacey's voice was barely above a whisper as she reached for the folder, her hands shaking. What is this? What's in that folder? Lacey's fingers trembled as she took the folder from Derek's nervous grip. Her voice came out in a broken whisper that cut through the ambient airport. Teggy, and Esolv, duching else. Bank statements, credit reports, loan rejections painted in red ink and overdue stamps. $50,000, her voice cracked on the number. Derek, we talked about being debt-free before we got married. You showed me your accounts. Derek's recovery attempt was immediate but clumsy. Lacey, sweetheart, those are investment opportunities. Strategic debt leverage, it's complicated, but gambling debts to Pacific Coast, gaming. Lacey's nursing training had taught her to read documents methodically, and she was applying that skill now. $23,000 to a casino collection agency? His parents recoiled as if the folder contained infectious disease. Ellen Stone pressed her hand to her mouth. Derek Michael, please tell me this isn't what it looks like. Derek tried to grab the folder back, but Lacey held it protectively against her chest. Those were research visits for my real estate clients, high-end properties near gaming establishments. It's complicated market analysis. At 3 in the morning, I asked quietly, producing the casino surveillance photos.
James Karen had obtained while your family was sleeping upstairs thinking you had insomnia. Lacey flipped to the hotel photographs, and I watched her world shatter in real time. Images of Derek with Tiffany Chen at the resort bar, laughing intimately over tropical drinks, hotel keycard records showing his access to room 847 on 3 separate nights. Who is she? Lacey's question came out as a breathless gasp. Derek, who is this woman you were with while I was sleeping in our room? Derek's desperation escalated into aggression. This is invasion of privacy. Your father hired some stalker to follow us on our honeymoon. Can't you see what he's doing? He's trying to destroy our marriage because he can't stand that you have a real family now. I reached into my wallet and placed James Karen's business card on the table, next to the scattered evidence. Everything in that folder can be verified independently. Mr. Karen is a licensed private investigator with 20 years of law enforcement experience. Derek's mother was reading over Lacey's shoulder now, her face growing more horrified with each document.
Derek, these casino receipts. You spent $1,100 in one night. Where did you get that money? And these phone records, Derek's father added, his voice thick with disappointment. 47 calls to a debt collection agency during our family vacation. Son, what have you done? Lacey found the financial analysis section, her nursing position making her thorough, even in crisis. You used my credit cards, my savings account. Derek, we have $18,000 in debt I never knew about. Derek's final desperate play came with the artificial authority of a man used to manipulating vulnerable women. Lacey, you need to choose, right now, your husband or your father, because I won't be married to someone who lets her daddy interfere in our relationship. The ultimatum hung in the air like a challenge to everything Derek had. Programming heard a believe for 6 months, but something had shifted in it. Lacey's face, a recognition, dawning like sunrise after the longest night of her life. She sat in stunned silence for several minutes, her mind processing information that contradicted months of Derek's manipulation. The wedding rings lit off her finger with ease. Weight loss from stress not realized, and landed on calf. Table next to the evidence of Derek's betrayal, with a tiny metallic sound that seemed echo through the terminal. 6 months, she said, her voice growing stronger with each word. 6 months of marriage. And this is who you really are. Not the gambling, not even the cheating. The lies, Derek. The way you made me doubt my own father's love. Derek lunged for her arm, but I stepped between them with the reflexes of a man who'd once served his country. That's enough. Your father is a bitter old man trying to destroy our happiness. Derek's voice carried across the calf, drawing stares from other travelers. Lacey, don't let him poison you against me. Airport security was already approaching, drawn by the raised voices in obvious distress. I raised my hand to show we had everything under control, while addressing the officers with calm authority. Family discussion, gentlemen. Just settling some travel arrangements. Derek's mother grabbed her son by the shoulders, her voice sharp with maternal disappointment. Derek, Michael Stone, what have you done to this family? To this sweet girl? Your father and I raised you better than this. Lacey picked up her purse and turned toward me, her face streaked with tears, but her voice steady with newfound conviction. I need to go home now, Dad. To our real home. Derek's desperation finally broke through his calculated facade as his accusations followed us toward the terminal exit, but they sounded hollow now. The desperate protests of a man watching his carefully constructed cone fall apart in public. You'll regret this, Lacey. You'll come crawling back when you realize what you've thrown away. I kept my hand gently on Lacey's shoulder as we walked away, not looking back at the man who'd stolen 6 months of my daughter's life. But something else was stirring inside me, something harder than disappointment. It felt like determination wrapped in steel wool, scratchy and uncomfortable, but undeniably strong. I settled into Margaret's old armchair, the blue velvet one she'd claimed as her reading spot. My phone felt heavier than usual as I picked it up, scrolling to Lacey's contact. Her smiling face looked back at me from the screen, a photo from last Christmas, when she still hugged me goodbye. My thumb hovered over the call button. The phone rang 3 times before she answered. "Hi, Dad." Her voice sounded different, distant, formal, like she was talking to a colleague rather than the man who taught her to ride a bicycle. "Lacey, sweetheart, I was just wondering." I know, Dad. I'm so sorry about tonight." The words came out rehearsed, mechanical. In the background, I heard something that sounded suspiciously like Hawaiian music, soft and tropical. There was an emergency at Derek's work, last-minute crisis. We completely forgot to check our calendars. I closed my eyes, trying to picture her face. Was she looking at Derek while she spoke? Was he coaching her, feeding her lines? An emergency on Saturday night. It's complicated. Derek says these real estate deals don't follow normal business hours. There it was. The evidence folder remains scattered across the calf table. Derek's parents and sister left to sort through the wreckage of the son and brother they thought they knew. Behind us, Derek's voice cracked with the sound of a man facing consequences for the first time in his adult life. The parking garage was silent except for the distant rumble of planes overhead and the quiet sound of my daughter crying. We sat in my tears to find their words. "I'm so sorry, Dad." Her voice came out broken, raw with 6 months of suppressed doubt. "I'm so sorry I believed him about you. About us." The drive home took 45 minutes, but we talked for what felt like hours. Lacey shared how Derek had convinced her that my love was unhealthy attachment, that grown daughters needed to establish boundaries with controlling fathers, how he'd coached her to see my Sunday brunch invitations as manipulation rather than tradition, my birthday celebration as desperate attention-seeking instead of simple love. "He made me write that Father's Day card," she confessed as we pulled into my driveway. "Sat right next to me at our kitchen table, editing every sentence." Said traditional sentimental language was emotionally immature. "I made her favorite childhood comfort food that evening, grilled cheese." Sandwiches with the crust cut off and Camel's tomato soup. The same meal I'd served when she had bad dreams or scraped knees. We sat at the kitchen table where she'd once done homework and told me about her fam, reclaiming the space Derek had tried to poison with his manipulation. She noticed Margaret's coffee mug sitting in its usual spot by the window, untouched since the morning of my birthday party. Mom would have seen right through him, wouldn't she? "Your mother always said family protects family, no matter what." I replied, refilling our soup bowls. "She would have been proud of your courage today." Derek's harassment started within the hour. Phone calls, text messages, emails, cycling between apology and threat with manic desperation. I helped Lacey block his number and social media accounts, documenting everything. For the restraining order, we'd file Monday morning. By Tuesday, we had a divorce attorney. By Thursday, Derek was served with papers that protected Lacey from his deaths, while ensuring she recovered half their shared assets. His real estate license was permanently revoked when the state board discovered he'd falsified financial documents on loan applications. Lacey stayed in her childhood bedroom for 2 weeks, healing from the psychological damage of 6 months with a master manipulator. I took vacation time from my retirement to help her remember who she was before. Derek tried to remake her in his image. The restraining order became necessary when Derek appeared at my house 3 times in 1 week, alternating between fury and desperate pleading. I calmly documented each violation while making it clear that Lacey was under my protection now. 7 months later, the divorce was final. Derek had lost his career, his credibility, and access to his victim. Court-ordered gambling addiction counseling was the price of avoiding criminal charges for financial fraud. His parents, horrified by their son's behavior, cut off the financial support that had enabled his lifestyle for years. Lacey blew him too, like Margaret's roses in spring. She returned to full-time nursing, enrolled in a nurse practitioner program, and began dating Tom, a pediatric surgeon from her hospital, who treated her with
The respect Derek never had.
On my 63rd birthday, my house filled with laughter and genuine celebration. Lacey, Tom, 3 of her nursing school friends, the Martinez family from next door, and James Karen, who'd become an unexpected friend. Real joy, earned through surviving crisis together. As I blew out 63 candles, I caught sight of Margaret's photo, back on the mantelpiece, beside a new picture from Lacey's nursing school graduation. Both of us grinning like we had when she was 7 years old, before Derek's stone ever existed in our lives. Lacey squeezed my hand as the last candle flickered out. "What did you wish for, Dad?" I looked around the room at the family we'd rebuilt from Derek's ashes, at the daughter who'd found her way back to herself, at the future your mother could see how strong and beautiful you'd become, I said. But mostly, I realized I don't need to wish for anything.
We have everything we need right here.
Margaret would have been so proud of the woman our daughter became and the man I'd found the courage to be when it mattered most. If you liked this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching. Derek says, when did her sentences start beginning with those 2 words? We're actually dealing with a priority management situation that requires our immediate attention. Priority management situation. Lacey, who used to say thingy when she couldn't remember the right word, was suddenly speaking like a corporate manual, and Derek's parents, his sister, a pause, longer than comfortable. They're helping with the situation. It's really all hands on deck right now. I walked to the kitchen, staring at the untouched lasagna. You sound tired, honey. Just stressed. Derek says we need to focus on our core family unit during challenging times. Core family unit. I remembered when she used to call as Team Gray. Her and me against the world after Margaret died. Now, I apparently wasn't part of any unit at all. Well, happy birthday, Dennis. She'd forgotten my middle name. Ever since she learned to talk, every birthday greeting had been "Happy birthday, Dennis Michael Gray," delivered in. The same sing-song voice she used as a toddler. Now I was just Dennis, generic as a stranger. Thank you. My voice stayed steady, controlled. I could hear Margaret's voice from beyond the grave. Don't push when someone's pulling away. You'll only make them run further. I hope Derek's emergency resolves quickly. It will. It has to. Another pause. Dad, I should probably go. This situation really needs my full attention. The call lasted exactly 3 minutes and 47 seconds. I checked the timer after she hung up, staring at the number like it meant something. 3 years, 3 months, and 47 seconds. That's how long it took my daughter to become a stranger. I sat in the kitchen surrounded by the evidence of my foolish optimism. The fancy napkins, the birthday decorations, the carefully prepared meal that would feed me for days. But beneath the hurt, something sharper was taking shape. Call it intuition, call it paranoia, call it the natural skepticism of a man who'd spent 40 years solving engineering problems. Derek's emergency real estate crisis on a Saturday night, Hawaiian music in the background. For the first time in months, I walked to Margaret's old desk and opened my laptop. The screen flickered to life, showing a desktop I rarely used anymore. I typed facebook.com with 2 fingers. My engineering mind frustrated by social media interfaces I avoided since Margaret's death. My password attempt failed twice before I remembered. Margaret, love, 1962. The year we met. Facebook opened to a sparse feed I hadn't touched since people posted condolences after Margaret's funeral. But tonight, I had a specific mission. I typed Derek Stone into the search bar with the same methodical patience I had once used to draft blueprints. His profile appeared first, that familiar smirk looking back at me from a professional headshot,
that probably caused more than my monthly grocery budget. His recent posts made my breath catch in my chest. Earlier today, while I was covering my untouched lasagna with aluminum foil, Derek had posted photos on Facebook, likely cross-posted from his Instagram. The location tag read, Grand Wailea Resort, Maui, Hawaii. The first photo showed him at sunset, designer's swim shorts, and a Mai Tai. Golden light painting everything romantic and expensive. But it was the caption that made my hands start shaking. Having the most amazing family vacation, nothing beats quality time with the people who really matter. Bless just families, Hawaii. I scrolled down. More photos loaded like evidence in a case I was building against my own family. Lacey in a red bikini I'd never seen, laughing at a poolside bar. Derek's parents in matching Hawaiian shirts raising tropical drinks toward the camera. His sister doing yoga on a beach that looked like a postcard. 47 likes. Comments from friends saying, so jealous and perfect family goals.
And you guys deserve this. My engineering mind automatically calculated costs. 5 people, luxury resort, minimum 1 week, $8,000. Probably more with helicopter tours and couples massage likely funded by maxing out Lacey's credit cards or borrowing from his parents' appointments that filled. Derek's other recent posts. Meanwhile, he'd had Lacey lie about an emergency that prevented them from driving. 20 minutes to my house for free homemade dinner. I scrolled back through Derek's timeline with the systematic thoroughness I'd once used to review technical specifications. Expensive restaurants every weekend. Designer clothes. Lacey worn photos but never mentioned buying. Ski trips to Aspen. Wine tastings in Napa Valley. A lifestyle funded by what? Exactly. Derek's real estate commissions. The Instagram timestamps told the real story. They'd been Hawaii for 3 days already, 3 days of lies while I'd planned my birthday celebration. 3 days of island paradise while Derek coached Lacey on how to brush off her pathetic old father. I screenshot each photo methodically, creating a digital folder labeled Family, Vacation. The evidence of their deception preserved in high-resolution pixels. Derek, grinning, decided to helicopter. Lacey clinking glasses with his parents. The happy family I'd never be invited to join. Celebrating in tropical luxury while I ate alone in my cold house. The most recent post was timestamped 23 minutes ago. Derek at the resort bar. Another Mai Tai, another smug smile. Another caption about blessed family time and making memories with the ones who matter. The ones who matter. Apparently that was everyone except me. My phone rang. Derek's name appearing on the screen like a challenge. I stared at it for 2 full rings, watching his contact photo flash. The same arrogant smile from the Hawaii photos,